Hello, everybody. Great to have you all here tonight.
We are on the record in case number 24 TRD 03930, and it's captioned the State of Ohio versus James Schnars. And you're Mr. Schnars, sir?
Yes, sir.
The record should reflect that the defendant is present in the courtroom today. He does not have an attorney with him. Mr. King is here on behalf of the State of Ohio. This matter comes on for further hearing upon the citation for a seatbelt violation. The defendant was also charged with exceeding this posted speed limit. However, he entered a plea of guilty to that charge and was sentenced accordingly as arraigned. Mr. King, is the state prepared to proceed on the seatbelt violation?
We are. We would ask for a separation of witnesses.
All right. And Mr. Schnars, are you ready to have your trial on that matter?
Yes, sir. I did pay that ticket, that
Good.
prior one, and like you're saying, proceed with this trial.
Yeah, well, if you're still interested in having a trial, it looks like the state's ready to go, and that's what we're here for. So,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Now, you don't have a lawyer with you, and you do have a right to be represented by counsel, but you're not eligible to ask the court to provide an attorney for you at no cost because you're not looking at any potential jail time as a consequence of conviction. So you would actually have to hire your own. Was it your intention to represent yourself today?
I don't
I was
have any.
wondering if I could speak as well on behalf.
Not unless you have a law degree.
Okay. I
Yep.
wish.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have the ability to afford an attorney at the
Okay.
moment. So I guess I'll do my best to just be honest.
Sure.
you know.
The state has also asked for a separation of witnesses. Did you intend to call this person as a witness?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
She was the one there. She's like involved in like what happened. you
Okay.
know,
Well, what that means when he asks for a separation of witnesses is that other than the defendant and a designated state's witness, anybody else who may be called as a witness is required to wait outside, and nobody can tell those future witnesses what the other witnesses testified
Gotcha.
to. So I'm going to grant that motion. So if you do intend to call her, she'll have to wait out in the hallway for now until it's your turn, until you decide to call her to testify. Okay?
Okay.
That's what the separation means.
Okay.
All right? Okay, Mr. King, I'm assuming you're designating the trooper as your state's witness?
Yes, sir. Trooper
All right.
Miller.
Well, at this time, if the state's prepared to begin, let's go ahead and call your first witness.
Trooper Miller.
Trooper, please come forward and be sworn.
Am I supposed to
Not
say-
you, you're fine. You just remain seated, and I'll let the bailiff do her job.
Do you solemnly swear or do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please have a seat. Sir, for the record, give your name and spell your last name.
Trooper Brian Miller, MILLER, 3855 Altville Road, Greenville, Ohio, 43023. You're welcome.
You may inquire.
Thank you. Trooper Miller, how long have you been employed by the Highway Patrol?
7 years.
And were you working back on May 10th, 2024?
I was.
We call it shift you were working.
8 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And duties include the enforcement of the traffic laws of the state of Ohio,
Yes.
dressed in the uniform of the day, similar to what you're wearing now.
Yes.
And were you operating a plainly marked Highway Patrol cruiser with all required markings lights, including the working overhead light bar?
Yes.
The cruiser you were operating, number one, I'm assuming it was equipped with speed measuring devices,
Yes.
specifically a laser.
Yes.
And also, did the cruiser have video?
It did.
And where were the videos at?
So the dash camera is mounted just to the right. If you're sitting inside the car, it's just to the right of the rearview mirror. And then there's an additional recording device mounted on my chest, body-worn camera.
Okay, I'm going to warn you guys right now. We don't see the video, but we do hear it. I reduced the audio when the body camera first comes on, but if you have headphones in, this is your warning. It starts out loud.
Okay, are you able?
And that was not me.
How was the body cam activated?
It can either be activated manually by pushing the big center button twice, or it'll be activated when you have your lights on and you open your driver's door. It'll automatically turn on.
And on that date at about 9:40 in the evening, on May 10th, 2024, did you come into contact with an individual later known to you as James Schnars?
Yes.
Is he in the courtroom today?
He is.
Point him out for the judge, if you would.
He's seated at the defense table wearing a pink button-up shirt.
And where'd you come into contact with him at?
It's State Route 16, approximately milepost 19, the eastbound lanes.
City of Newark, Lincoln County, Ohio.
That's correct.
And what brought your attention to him?
I initially checked the vehicle speed at 85 miles per hour and the posted 55 mile per hour zone.
And you effected a traffic stop for that violation?
I did.
During the traffic stop, did you notice who all was in the vehicle?
I did. There was Mr. Snars driving the vehicle. He had a front seat passenger and then a young child in the back seat.
And do you recall how young the child was?
I don't recall exactly. I want to say 16 months, but I can't remember.
Okay. And did the child weigh less than 40 pounds?
Absolutely.
And how was the child secured or not secured?
So the child was in a rear-facing car seat. However, there was no base to the car seat for the actual seat to latch into. The base would be anchored into the metal anchors that are either just inside the crease of the seat or behind the rear seat. Additionally, there was a seatbelt that was kind of drug over her legs. And the seatbelt was fastened, but it was very loose. Had that vehicle been involved in a crash, the car seat would not have been, I guess, secured throughout the crash. It would have, I don't want to say flown across the cabin, but it's entirely possible, depending on the speed and the nature of the crash that occurred, that it could have happened that way.
Did not believe that the child was properly secured in that particular car seat?
No, given the type of car seat, at a minimum, the seatbelt needed to be fastened better, if not secured with a base.
And are you familiar with those type of seatbelts, or I'm sorry, child restraints?
Yes.
You have kids of your own. And does it need a base?
Yes.
And did he indicate where he got that car seat from?
I believe they stated they bought it from like a second party, so they didn't buy it at a retail store or anything like that.
Okay, so there was no car seat.
No
Or,
base.
I'm sorry, there was no base to it.
I believe that's what he stated, was that when he bought it, they didn't get a base with it.
And there were obviously, I think this was a 2018 Kia, obviously it came equipped with seat belts.
Came equipped with seat belts, and I'm sure it came equipped with the proper anchors that the base would have been anchored into.
Okay. I want to turn your attention now. Is your screen on?
It is.
To the video. I'm playing a little bit too long, but I don't want to fool with it. So what are you doing now?
Right now, I'm just checking speeds. I'm on the south shoulder of the eastbound lanes of State Route 16.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. I'm just showing the body cam, not the dash cam. I take it you've now identified the defendant's vehicle as a speeder?
Yes, sir. Yes. Is your driver's license on you?
Yes, sir, I do have it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You trying to flashlight
Huh?
I said, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling fine. How are you feeling?
Tired as fuck, man, ready to get home.
Going 85 and a 55?
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
Where are y'all coming from?
Circus Overhead, all the way downtown. We live in Newark, so we made that drive all the way out there. So I've been working. I got off work at 5:30.
How long you lived here?
Maybe 4 months.
4 months?
Yeah.
Who owns the vehicle?
Me.
What company's the insurance?
By the way, he did produce a license. Do you recall whether it was an Ohio license or out-of-state license?
It was an out-of-state driver's license.
Geico.
You have that?
Yeah, it's on my phone. Actually, yeah, it's on my phone. Yeah. You said you called me at doing what?
85 and a 55.
85?
Pretty plain to see when you come screaming around that curve faster than every other car.
I was just trying to pass that vehicle so I could get that exit 21 because that's at 21st Street. That's where I get off
Well,
at.
you had like a mile and a half after I checked your speed, so.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you.
All right, well, while you look for that, I'll be back with your ticket, okay?
My ticket? I'm
Yeah.
getting a ticket.
For 30 over, absolutely you're getting a ticket.
What's the fine on that?
I couldn't tell you. You'll have to look it up online. It's also going to be a mandatory court appearance because you're going 30 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Sir, is there any way
No.
you can work with me?
For 30 over, you want me to work with you?
I'm not new to. I'm new to the area.
You've lived here for 4 months. You've been into 55 now for 4 miles. And even if you were going 85 and a 70, I still would have stopped you.
Yeah, I just follow with the flow of traffic, to be honest with you, and
But you weren't going with the flow of traffic. You were flying by every other car in the right lane. So I'm not going to play
I
that
won't
game
argue
either.
with you. Yeah, I won't argue with
Does
you.
that car seat have an anchor?
Car seat? Yeah.
Is she anchored in?
Yeah, you can check. Seatbelt buckled in.
Roll down the window for me. I'm not gonna wake her up. The seatbelt's just sitting here, guys. Look at the seatbelt. Look at that. That's not gonna do anything if y'all get in a
It's supposed to
crash.
be her job to put in the
Seatbelt's like not working. How old is she?
16 months.
I'm sorry.
Where's the anchor for this?
It doesn't come with one. You just wrap the seatbelt around it.
Okay, but it's got clips on the bottom where you can put an anchor on the seat and you can lodge it in there.
It didn't come with that.
Right, but you can buy it, is what I'm saying. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. If she's in a front-facing car seat like that, if you guys get in a crash, she's gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Especially with that seatbelt. She's too young to be front-facing. All right, and that seatbelt's not doing anything for her. All right. So while I'm back there, ma'am, if you wanna go around back and try to fix it, maybe switch it to the other side. Get a seatbelt that works. All right. No, well, car seat's not going to do any good if it goes flying across the car if you get in a crash. I understand.
Alright, I'm getting my insurance pulled up for you.
Pull it up.
Okay, and how old was the child?
16 months.
And I'm confused now, front facing?
She was front facing. If I testified earlier that she was rear facing, ultimately we switched her to rear facing. I didn't recall that when I initially approached, she was front facing.
Okay, should it have been rear facing?
Absolutely, especially at that age, she doesn't have the strength in her neck, back, upper body at all. If they were to get in a crash, for per se rear end somebody, and her head would fling forward, she doesn't have the strength to sustain that kind of impact.
And it wasn't anchored.
It was moderately anchored with that seatbelt, but again, with the way that it was anchored, it wouldn't have secured it.
And no base.
Correct.
The portion of the video that we watched, the body cams, that true and accurate depiction of what you observed as well as your interaction with the defendant?
It is.
I have nothing further on it.
All right, so Mr. Schnars, you have a right to ask the witness questions if you wish, although you're not required to. And you will have an opportunity to give your side of things after the state rests its case. But this portion of the trial is just for questions, not you giving your side of things, all right? So do you have any questions for the trooper?
I don't think so. I think you did your job great. Like I said, the seat didn't come without, when we bought the seat, it didn't come with a base. And based upon that sticker on the side, I don't know if this is the time for me to share this.
Well, right now is if you have any questions for the
Questions,
trooper.
yeah. So, yeah, it's not a question that I have yet. I'll make statements later though towards the incident. So no
Okay.
questions at
All right.
this time.
Well, all right, Mr. Schnars. Trooper, you may step down.
Thank you,
Thank you. Any additional witnesses on behalf of the state?
No additional witnesses, Your Honor.
Do you wish to address your motion or
We
your
would ask
exhibit,
for
I
the-
should say?
Yeah, we would ask for the admission into evidence, plaintiff's exhibit 1, which is the body cam.
So the prosecution's asking me to admit that video recording into evidence. If I grant that request, I will be permitted to consider this in making my decision about whether or not the state has met its burden of proof. Do you have any objection, or are you opposed to the video being admitted into evidence?
Any objection? Like, could this be where I could share, like, information regarding the child restraint? And
Well, right now, it's just to determine whether or not I'm going to grant the state's request to let this in. Now, regardless of what my decision is on that, the state intends to rest its case, and then it'll be your turn to give your side of things, either by calling the individual who was in here earlier or testifying on your own behalf. So, but first you have to let me know whether or not you are opposed to that video coming in and therefore me considering it.
yeah, you could You can do the video.
Okay.
I'm so confused. I don't practice law,
Fine.
so it's all confusing to me. But
Okay, there's some lawyers who appear here, Dill.
yeah.
I'm going to admit the state's won without objection, and the state does rest.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you, Mr. Schnars, as you sit there, are presumed to be not guilty. It's always the state's burden to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt before a person can be convicted of anything, whether it's spitting on the sidewalk or running somebody over on one. You are under no obligation whatsoever to present any defense by calling any witnesses, introducing any exhibits, or taking the stand on your own behalf. And if you didn't, it doesn't reduce your presumption of innocence. It doesn't lower their burden of proof. And I don't hold it against you if you didn't testify on your own behalf. But you do have a right to present a defense by calling other witnesses, by introducing exhibits into the record, and by testifying on your own behalf. So with that understanding, other than yourself, do you have anybody that you wish to call to testify?
Yes, my girlfriend
Okay.
would like to speak.
Now, would you like to testify before she does or after she does?
I can go first.
Okay, so
Um,
now you do need to understand that if you elect to testify, you're required to swear or affirm to tell the truth. And once, you're finished giving your side of things, you are required to answer any questions the prosecutor has, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, then please come forward and bring anything you intend to testify about.
Okay.
All right.
Try to face me. Good. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that
The whole truth.
All right, so for the record, give your name and spell your last name.
So my name is James Snars, Schnars.
And your address.
Courts make me really nervous. I'm just trying to calm down. And my address, Newark, Ohio, 43055.
All right, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name.
That's no problem, sir.
But it's Snars.
Snars, yeah, it's German.
Well, Mr. Snars, you don't have a lawyer who's going to take you through your testimony, so your testimony is you just giving me your side of the story. So you
Yeah.
can start whenever you're ready.
And I would just love to be honest. You know, I realize I made a mistake here. So I have printouts of things. Can I show you these printouts?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mr. King, did you want to approach so you could look through them as well?
yeah. So when we originally bought the car seat, it didn't come without a base. So on the side of the car seat, there's a sticker that says rear facing without base. Vehicle belt goes here when installed without base. So I was under the impression that we could install it without the base. And then that incident happened. And so I ended up buying a base for the car seat. And here's a picture of her in it today, this morning. So that way that she has a correct base and the correct restraint, according to state law now.
Okay.
I was just under the impression because even you could see it on the car seat there, it says, that you could use it without the base. So that's what the impression, I'm a new parent, it's my first child, so that's the impression that I was under. And me and my girlfriend kind of have an agreement, me and my girlfriend have an agreement where as I'm picking up all the heavy stuff, to put into the trunk, her carrier and stuff like that, I put her in the seat and we have an agreement that she buckles her. And so she did clip her seatbelt in. I guess she just didn't tighten it down strong enough. And so I'm not blaming that on her. It's definitely my duty to check on my child to make sure she's secure as well. But we did have that agreement, and so I was under the impression that she was going to take care of that. So since then I just recently purchased that and corrected my mistake.
Okay.
If that makes sense, yeah.
No, absolutely. I totally understand exactly what you're saying.
And I just recently paid that ticket for the speeding ticket as well. I'm a single parent. Obviously, my girlfriend's pregnant, so I'm the only one supporting my family. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Snars. Mr. King, do you have any questions?
Very briefly, back on May 10th, 2024, you were operating that vehicle correctly?
Yes, sir.
The child was, I believe I heard you say 16 months.
At that time, yes, sir.
Yeah, and certainly weighed less than 40 pounds.
She's about 25 pounds, yeah.
well, she weighed less back then than 40 pounds.
At that time, yeah, 25, yeah, less than 45, yeah.
Where did you purchase this car seat at?
Amazon, I believe. I can double check. I just sent the money to my girlfriend's $200, but I sent it to my girlfriend and she ordered off Amazon, I believe.
But though, you understand there was a base that was available for that car seat?
When I bought it, it came with that and a stroller. That's all it came with.
Okay.
So,
But in any event, the 16-month-old was facing forward
I
on this
can't.
particular day.
I can't recall at this time if she was facing forward or back, just because, like I said, that was me and my girlfriend had that agreement that she was gonna. So I'll let her answer that question if you want to ask her. But I believe she was facing forward at that time, just because of what that says on there. Like, yeah.
And there was simply a loose seat belt over the child's legs.
Yeah, but it was clicked in it, as far as, what he said, and it was secured, it was secured, the seatbelt was clicked in, it just wasn't tightened down properly.
So, heaven forbid, something would have happened, an automobile
Could have been
accident.
catastrophic,
The child was not properly secured and could have flown around.
absolutely.
Oh, I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Now, based upon the questions that the prosecutor asked you, was there anything else you wanted to add to your testimony?
That I understand I made a mistake, it's my duty to check on my child. I have taken all of the proper precautions to, get the proper equipment to, make sure that she's secured, and I was just misinformed that day. That's the way I was shown how to put her in a car seat for my family. I can admit that I was wrong, but I can also admit that that she was definitely at least clipped into a seatbelt. I understand it wasn't tightened all the way down, but she was clipped in, and I've taken the steps to make sure that she's secure now and under state law, so.
Okay. Mr. King, any recross?
No, thank you.
All right. Mr. Snors, I'm going to give these back to you.
Okay.
You can go ahead and retake your place at the table. And did you wish to call your girlfriend in to testify at this time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what's her name?
Her name is Peyton Pester.
All right, so Peyton Pester, please.
Okay. want me to
You
go?
can just have a seat where you were before, because if you're going to be the one asking her questions,
Oh, okay.
okay?
Okay.
You also may be holding the baby while she testifies.
She is, and she's got another baby too, as well. Kicking like crazy today.
Okay.
Here, you hold on to her.
You'll come forward and be sworn, please.
Sure. You want me to
Yep,
hold?
right, step up onto the witness platform and then turn and face the bailiff and raise your right hand.
Just raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Please have a seat. For the record, you're going to give your name and spell your last name
Okay. My name is Peyton, last name Pester, Pester,
and your address.
Newark, Ohio. Not sure of the zip code, sorry.
All right. Okay, you can go ahead and ask whatever questions you have for Ms. Pester.
Okay, so upon leaving Circus LA, as far as our agreements, like that, we had an agreement that I would, put all the heavy stuff in the car, and that you were going to check her seatbelt, and that you confirmed that you clicked it in and locked it into the seatbelt buckle.
Yes.
So the seatbelt was actually on.
The seatbelt was on.
Okay.
Correct.
All
when
right.
I buckled her in.
Okay, all right, and so the seatbelt was on, and because that, when we originally purchased that, seatbelt, or car seat, that it did not come with a base.
Correct.
So that you were under the impression that, because of the sticker on the side, that we could set her up without the base.
Correct.
And that's how your mom showed us how to do it too.
Correct.
as
That's
well.
that's how Veronica's grandpa, your dad, my mom, and everybody has mentioned that should be okay, because the sticker on the side says that without the base, this is how you install the car seat. So I was under the impression that as long as it's through those little loops and the car seat is buckled, that's good enough.
Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go ahead and scoop her up and go ahead and have a seat, or unless she wants to stay with Miss Pester,
She may
whichever
want
she
to.
wants to do. Nope, not at all. Any cross.
Very briefly, Your Honor, you were not operating the vehicle on this date, were you?
I was not, no.
Okay, and the car seat itself, or I'm sorry, the seat belt itself wasn't through the seat at all, it was over her legs.
It could have been. She kicks while she's in her car seat, especially when she's fussy. She didn't have a great time at Cirque du Soleil, so she was already pretty fussy. She
If
may
it
have
was-
kicked it off.
If it was just over her legs, that wouldn't have been very secure. You would agree now, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would agree.
Okay.
I'm
Now-
also a new mom. I'm new. It was my misunderstanding as far as the whole car seat situation goes. I learned my lesson now. We did order a base so that when we hand down her car seat, she'll be safe from now on. And when we hand down her car seat to her baby brother, who's going to be due soon, he'll also be safe as well.
And at that age, that size, facing backwards, right?
Yes. Moving forward, everything will be, exactly how it should be.
Nothing further.
Did you have any follow-up questions you wanted to ask Miss Pester based upon Mr. King's questions?
Is everything that we shared today true?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
Any recross?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Miss Pester, you may step down, and you can remain in the courtroom at this time.
Okay. Sorry in advance. She's hyper.
It's quite all right. Can't speak for everybody in this room, but I know quite a few of us are parents, so we've all been there. And the whole 4-year-old thing, I think is a little arbitrary, because I got a 3.5-year-old that definitely could be in a booster. All right, you don't have any other witnesses, do you?
No, she was just the only one with me at that time.
Okay. Did you want to ask the court to admit those photographs into evidence?
If you could, yeah. You
Mr.
guys
King,
can
any
just have
objection?
these copies.
Any objection? Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and take those, and Ms. Kyle, if you'll just go ahead and mark those as defendants A, B, and C. All right. So, Mr. King, did the state wish to present any testimony or evidence in rebuttal?
No, thank you.
All right. So, the court has to decide whether or not the state has met its burden of proof here that the defendant was operating the vehicle without having a child younger than 4 and less than 40 pounds properly restrained with a car seat. By the defendant's own testimony, he admitted that in fact he did not. The testimony largely consisted of him explaining that having been made aware of the fact that that was deficient, they've now come into compliance and there's no danger involved with the child. So I'm going to enter a guilty finding, but obviously the court is encouraged to know that you followed up with what you needed to do to make sure that everything is installed properly. So I'm going to enter a guilty finding. Before I make any decisions about what your fine should be, you have a right to make a statement, not about whether you're guilty or not. I've made that decision. You're probably going to disagree with me there. But as it relates to the fine, your financial circumstances, what would create a hardship for you, things of that nature. Anything you want to say?
No, sir, not at this time.
Okay. And Mr. King, did the state wish to be heard?
No, thank you.
Is there, well, I apologize, you already asked me. Can I ask one more question?
Go right ahead.
And so this would be the end of the trial, this is concluded?
Yeah, and then and I'll tell you how you can appeal my decision. There's a higher court than me that can review my decisions and the way I ran the trial and the ultimate decision that I made regarding your guilt, as well as whatever fine I imposed. You have the right to appeal that, and I'll explain that to you after I announce your fine. Okay? Let's see here. I know I asked you this on May 15th, but I've probably seen about 300 people since then. Where do you work?
I work for Aflac.
Okay. And what do you do for them?
I'm a licensed health insurance agent through the state of Ohio.
Oh, okay.
And through 25 other states.
And I was going to ask you also, which I probably did, and I can't remember your answer, what brought you up to Central Ohio from Florida?
My dad lives here. He got divorced and was going through a really hard time, so we moved back from Florida to help my dad move houses and help him while he was going through his divorce.
And where is Spring Hill, Florida? Where in the state is Spring Hill?
That's where my mom is located.
I mean, is it like Orlando, Jacksonville?
It's on the
Gainesville?
west coast of Gulf of Florida.
Is it like north of Tampa?
Like 45 minutes northwest of Tampa. Yeah.
Is that where you were born and raised?
No, I was born in Pickerington, Ohio. I had just lived down there with my mom for like 8.5 years. And I just recently moved back up here. When I said 4 months in the video, it's really actually 2 months that I've been up here. Looking back on it, so it'd be about 4 months now. But yeah, so I've been here for a very short period of time.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and impose a fine of $50. I will. You'll get more time to pay, obviously. Although if you can pay today, that's superb. And obviously, having paid off the speeding ticket, that you don't have to worry about that anymore. And you did show proof of insurance that satisfied Trooper Miller the night of the occasion, and I've reflected that as well. Now, as I mentioned, you do have the right to appeal my verdict, finding you guilty, as well as the sentence that I've imposed. You have a right to file a notice of appeal within 30 days of today's date with the Licking County Court of Appeals. You have a right to pay for a transcript of our trial today, which is required to pursue an appeal. And you have the right to hire an attorney to represent you throughout the course of an appeal if you wish, but you're obviously not required to. I would caution you, however, that if you decide to appeal the case here today,
I'm not gonna appeal.
okay, then never mind.
Yeah, I don't even want to waste your time. I'm not gonna appeal.
I was about to tell you, if you're going to get a lawyer, because it's a lot harder doing the
Well,
appeals.
you gave me a fair price. $50 isn't a lot of money. I mean,
I've never actually heard it put quite that way, but I don't know whether I like it
well,
or not.
compared
but-
to the 230 I just paid for the traffic ticket, you know,
Right.
and
No, the way you said price. So I gave you a fair price, like we're
Yeah.
haggling in some sort of Moroccan market over how much it's going to be. But you, sir, are free to go with the bailiff, and good luck to you with the new baby.
thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, and then real quick, so with that guilty on my record, that's like a misdemeanor.
It's a minor misdemeanor traffic violation. It's no different than like a speeding
It's just a
ticket.
traffic violation.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
and so then the case is closed now on
Yep.
that?
Yep,
Okay.
sure is.
All right, and Judge David Stansbury.
Yep.
All right, thank you, sir.
You have a good day.
All right, you too. I will try. I'm dealing with some other stuff outside of this. I wish I could speak with you about it, but I know you're a busy man, so
Take care.
I'll speak with the bailiff.
Bye-bye.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.